said, Dad, my retirement plan is just to be so fucking rich, I don't have to know what retirement looks like. And he said, well, what happens when that don't work out? And I said, I don't know. I'll let you know. You know, because it probably won't.
So far, so good.
Yeah. So, you know.
But yeah, no, that was, which is just kind of interesting because, I mean, our parents grew up railroad, steel worker, whatever that was, because that's what you did with the generation they came up. And then I'm the same way.
Good morning, Ryan.
What's up, buddy? It's been a minute.
It's not really morning. Fuck. We were just talking before I started this camera about when you get old, you can do basically benign things that when you were 12 you wouldn't have thought anything at all about. And I just tripped over a fucking baby gate because I was trying to step over it, and I think I tweaked every bone in my body, which led Ryan to talking about falling with his daughter when she was little. But then it just occurred to me. Anyway, it's been about 7 years since we recorded anything.
Had a lot of things going on.
Holy shit, yeah. Tell me about Realtor World, other than the other thing. Other than that thing you and I did yesterday.
That big thing that you did?
Yeah.
So, of course, I was gone for, what?
Yeah, fuck, you don't know nothing about Realtor
2.5
World.
weeks,
You've been a damn cruise with
I'm coming back and trying to catch up and get in. It's been a little bit. The weather has certainly slowed things. I mean, there's not many people getting out, not a lot of phone calls. I mean, it's too cold to get out and do anything, and roads have been just too bad. But yeah, the trip was good. I think we talked about a little bit about that before I left, but that was. Went on a cruise, and then whenever we got back from the cruise, flight got canceled. So then we ended up having to stay in Orlando for 4 extra days.
Oh, you unlucky bastard.
Yeah, so it was...
he stayed in Orlando the 4 days that it was the Arctic fucking tundra.
The worst,
here.
yeah. Like the historical, temperature. So, yeah, I mean, we had to rough it out. I mean, it was chilly. It was, 40s and 50s in Orlando. But it was 7 here.
Yeah, it was
as a high.
4 to 7 degrees here with cloudy with a chance of meatballs kind of thing.
Yeah,
we didn't know what the hell was going on.
There was a lot of champagne problems going on while we were there. I mean, we were staying at a nice little place, and we had a shower head come off and spray around the room and, get some clothes wet. All things that under normal circumstances is okay to be frustrated about, and probably was in the moment, but it was so quick to go, dude, you realize you're okay, right?
It's 7 degrees at home. Yeah.
There's a little water on the wall. They'll come wipe it off or whatever it was. But it was...
Where did you cruise to? I can't remember.
We went... we actually had 4 stops. So we went to Dominican... we were in the Bahamas. I'm trying to think of where else. Turks and Caicos. So.
Oh, yeah.
But, so it was nice.
The boat thing?
Yeah, we do like the cruise. We kind of intentionally took this trip fairly soon after we did the one, where we went to Costa Rica to kind of get an idea if we did we like the, the cool thing about the all-inclusive kind of resort is it's a slow pace. You have everything, and whenever you're on a cruise, there's so much stuff going on. You're almost going, oh, God, don't want to miss that comedian? Or do
you do it? Do you go do the stuff on the boat?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but, like if I go to Vegas, I'm going to Vegas to watch shows. I'm not going to,
right.
So we enjoy shows. So we're constantly going to the shows. We're going to the comedians.
What kind of shows do they have on cruises?
Oh, God.
I didn't even know they had shows on
cruises. They got Vegas top shows on these cruises. They're pretty solid. I mean, like on this last one, they had it was almost like a rock Broadway-ish kind of show like you would have there. But, I mean, they had people on shit flying around them, the center of the ship and the big thing. I mean, they were flying around singing and doing all kinds of tricks and stuff. So
maybe I am missing more than I know, but I don't think I'll ever find out. Just the whole, gosh, I don't know. That freaks me out. I don't know. I don't want to be tied up on a boat. How much did they let you off? How many days were you on the boat versus off the boat?
Well, so that's the thing, and that's why these things to me kind of feel so quick. So we did a 7-day cruise, but we had 4 stops.
Yeah.
So there was really, we headed out that night. So you get on the boat 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever, and you head out about 6, 7 by the time they get everybody settled. And the next day, you didn't have a port. So You were on the ship, just seeing ocean water all the way around
36 hours.
And then the next day, port. You get off the boat at around 8 or 9 o'clock, get back on the boat around 4 o'clock. Next morning, you're doing the same thing on whenever they have that many stops. So, I mean, you were on dry land 4 out of the 7 days.
Okay. Well, that's not too bad, I guess. Either way, it's great compared to the shit storm of Hoth we had here.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you this story or not. I had been trying to get a whole house generator installed here for last couple months. This started a year ago. Last winter, I decided I wanted one. I tried to get a quote. Finally got a quote. This coming into this fall. And I said, let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, okay. Yeah. So a month goes by. They finally come put the generator in. And then I couldn't get gas. There's no natural gas to this house.
Yeah.
They wanted $10,000 to
I remember you telling me that.
Natural gas to this house. And then it was $4,000 for a propane tank, which I said, okay. And they said, well, we probably couldn't get you one before the storm unless you wanted to, pay to expedite it or whatever. Yep. Yes, I will expedite to get the gas before the thing. So I paid like $300 extra or something to guarantee me it would be installed before last Friday. And last Friday, they showed up and got their truck buried up in my yard and couldn't get the tank set. To that kid's credit, the kid that got the truck stuck in my yard was back here at 9 o'clock with a smaller bottle to hook up to my generator. So if in the event we got the ice storm, I would at least
you could limp through it.
Yeah, I have 24 hours worth of gas right now. So as long as the power's not out for more than 24 hours, I'm gold. And they said, you know what? If we get through till the spring, we'll just put your gas in the spring. That'll be fine. As long as you get me through. As long as if the fucking generator kicks on, we got gas. Are you
at least getting the expedited money back?
I don't think so. They haven't talked about that.
I think I'd bring that up, because if you're waiting till spring,
I'm curious to see the final bill, really. Right now, the guy that runs the place was just gracious enough to say, we can't really do what we're supposed to do, so we'll bring you a small bottle of gas for a while.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm okay with that as long as if the power goes out, they'll bring me more gas because I only have a day's worth. So that happened, and then of course the weather here is just, I guess it has been everywhere in the world, but it's been shitty here.
Yeah. Well, it was yesterday whenever we got the big, it just kind of came on all of a sudden. We were supposed to get like an inch or so, but then it just went.
Oh yeah, not before. That was not before last.
Yeah, it went south quick. Yeah. And that's what said Dixie got stuck literally 2 miles from the house. Or actually, she was only about a quarter of a mile from the house, but by the time she circled around, basically an hour and a half driving around in circles trying to get home because every road was blocked.
Trying to get a quarter mile down the road, yeah. I've seen that shit happen. When we went to get Franklin, I got to back up and tell that story.
Yeah, you had
this is important.
I got to hear more about Franklin.
This is important shit for this podcast.
Especially for this podcast.
Yeah. So Franklin had himself an accident. We don't know exactly what happened, but Katrina came here one morning. I left, and she came here to let the dogs out at some point during the day. And she said Franklin went outside as normal. Then when he came back in, she could tell he was hurt. So we don't know if he slipped on the ice or what the fuck happened to him. But she, if a dog comes in and it's acting weird, you kind of rub on it or, what's wrong and whatever. Yep. He went and hid in my shower, which is someplace he's never even went and got, but he knew he could get behind the shower curtain there, I guess, and hide.
Hopefully hide, yeah.
She took him straight on to the vet, and so I guess dogs get this fucking thing. It's called IVDD, yeah. Inter something vertebrae disc bullshit. Anyway, so he goes to the vet once. He gets a steroid shot. He goes back the next day. He's doing a little better. They said, oh, okay, well, just keep him quiet for a while. Next day, here at home, he gets in a bad way. He goes outside to poop again, and I guess just the strain of going outside and pooping and all that. Anyway, I guess he torqued himself again pretty good. And he started throwing up really bad, just hurting and throwing up maybe, I don't know. Or they never really did determine why he was throwing up, if it was his pain medicine or if he was hurting or what. But anyway, so I ended up taking him to Ohio State, Man, shout out to those people. Wow. If you've never been there, never had a reason to, good on you if you've never had a reason to. But if you ever need to go, if you're in this part of the world and you ever need a place to get an animal seen quickly and seen professionally, Ohio State University has a veterinary hospital. And when I say a hospital, this place is like any human hospital you ever went to. I mean, we walked into the emergency room, and this is on a Sunday morning early. There's 10 people behind counters doing triage, and they walked. When I walked in with Franklin, he was breathing very heavily by then, and the triage or person that greeted me took him away from me and basically took him straight back and put him on oxygen. And he spent 3 days up there. In the end, he's not a surgical candidate because he can still walk. And I guess the surgery for the IVDD thing is it's risky, so they won't do it unless the dog is already unable to walk. His regimen is he's supposed to come home with 4 to 8 weeks of strict crate rest, which is nearly impossible to deal with. I mean, he is stoned out of his fucking gourd, and he is still hard to stay right here in this crate, or right here. Partly because he's very...
his breed.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Frenchie. He's wild enough to shoot at. And by the way, Frenchies are, I've come to know now, Frenchies and Dachshunds are like the worst two dogs in the world for this IVDD thing, which scares the shit out of me because between me and the girls, we have 5 Frenchies. So it's like we went ahead and bought insurance policies for all of them. I bought a 5-dog family insurance policy for all 5 of the Frenchies around my office. Because this thing, I'm very fortunate as such where it's within my means to take care of him right now, and I'll go to the end of the earth to take care of him. I'd spend myself into oblivion to fix him, I think. But man, if this happened and you weren't prepared for it, the weirdest thing about going to the animal hospital is if you go to the emergency room and you say, "Oh, I broke my back," there's no question that they're going to fix your back. When you take your dog to an animal hospital, they say, "Yes, we can fix his back, but you need to go to the counter and pay $4,000, or you need to go to the counter and pay $8,000, or whatever."
Yeah, because it's all cash, basically.
Or if you don't have insurance, I don't know how the pet insurance works yet, but we're going to find out. But it's. I don't know. All that stuff is so expensive, but I guess it's an MRI. They first suggested he have an MRI. That was $4,000. And I said, "Can we wait a day?" And I'm glad I did, because then by the next day, his doctor called me and said, "He's doing so much better, I don't think we need to do the MRI." So I don't know. My life is in turmoil a little bit because of Franklin right now. And I have to go to Dallas this weekend to drop off some comics, and Katrina's going to stay here with Franklin because we didn't want to take him back to boarding. But it's I don't know, man. I don't know how normal, I say normal people, but how anybody that wasn't prepared for it or didn't just accidentally sell a large amount of comic books would pay to have their dog fixed. Yeah. It's made me think a whole lot about that, about having the pet insurance or at least a savings account or something.
Yeah, and I've got a couple of friends of mine that have had dogs that weren't in situations like we are, and they basically 2, 3, 4 years later are still making payments on that, almost like an automobile.
Yeah. Well, my dad's the most pragmatic person in the world, and he loves his dog more than anybody. But he's also you got to think about that money, but he told me on the way back, he said, "I want you to commit that you'll spend every dollar you can to make Franklin's life better, but you won't spend a single dollar to make yourself feel better." And I said, "Well, that's good." And then he said, "Just so you know, when Bear's his dog," and he said, "When Bear got sick, I spent over $12,000 getting him better."
So, Dad says it's okay.
Dad says it's okay. Yeah, my dad judges every nickel I spend on anything. And I just knew he was going to tell me I was a pussy for worrying about my dog or whatever. It's
because no, I get it.
Yeah, I totally get it. So anyway, I've said a million times, Franklin saved my life, so we'll probably figure out how to save his. But he's doing so much better now that he's getting hard to contain. And I don't know.
And that only gets harder each week, right?
Oh, yeah.
As he gets closer
Yeah.
to being healed,
Yeah.
but not healed.
Yeah, he's. I guess the only thing it's just like if you fuck your back up, the only thing that helps is if you just lay still for a
Do
while.
nothing, yeah.
And lay still and let the medicine work. But anyway, other than that, the only big news I have is I went to a little tiny comic book show and sold a ton of comics, and that let me finance Franklin. So all that collection that I bought, that I was telling you about last podcast, we took to Detroit and flipped most of it, made good money. And then, of course, as you know, yesterday, you and I went to a closing, and I'm now the proud owner of a new building to put snakes in.
Yes. I'm pumped for that. I'm anxious to see how the financials work out, but
I'm anxious.
I think the concept and what it's going to be is going to be cool once it's done.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be, okay, now how do I make this viable?
Well, they came and turned, just so I can give you a short update here, they came and turned the water on today, and the water lines are froze up. So I guess when they turned them off, they left just enough water in the lines to freeze solid. So hopefully nothing's busted. I don't think it is. We're starting to get just a trickle of water through the sinks and stuff. So it is moving as it thaws a little bit. But the heat and air's mostly where I wanted. I've had them back out there today. And past that, we just got to get internet, get it clean, start moving in. I think it's going to be fun. I'm not going to do a shitload of work to this place, though. I'm just going to try to
make the way it's lined out.
Make use of it the way it is, yeah. Anyway. Anything else exciting since I looked earlier? We haven't recorded this shit since January 8th.
Yep.
And it's funny, I looked back through my calendar to see what all I'd done through then, and I realized all the shit I hadn't done that I was supposed to do. So I'm sitting here doing all this shit. And 2 hours ago, I was sitting here like, okay, well, I'm backtrack my calendar and do all the things I forgot to do.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you one of the things that to get. There was a black comedian that was on there, and we went to one of his shows, and he was telling this story that basically he does a lot of cruise shows now. So he's a little bit older, and, he's been on Jimmy Kimmel. He's done all the big stuff, and now he's kind of getting older, so he likes these cruise things because it's a little bit easier. He jumps on at a port, stays on for 2 or 3 days, and it goes home. Yeah. But he said that, inevitably, because we're on a ship, and he's like, because he said a lot of people will come up and ask him, he's like, man, where do you stay whenever you're on these cruises? And he's like, where the hell do you stay? We're in the middle of the ocean. I stay, I got a room just like you.
Just like you. Yeah.
But when he said that inevitably a lot of people will offer to, wanting to go on there because they'll have these excursions, like you can go to a waterfall or you can go whatever it is. And he said that some people came up to him and said, hey, we're going to be going out doing some deep sea fishing tomorrow. We got an extra spot. Would you love to come? And he was like, oh, let me think about it. A black guy in the middle of the Caribbean Ocean on a little boat. Don't think that's a good idea. Yep. Okay. He's like, I am out.
Yep. What's that movie? Is it Deep Blue Sea? No. I can't remember.
It was very much a political joke. That he's like, black guy in the middle of the Caribbean Ocean on a little boat.
Oh, I know. Okay, yeah. Shit.
He's like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, right over my head.
I didn't think you registered what he was saying.
Didn't. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a bad deal out there. I wonder I bet they've really cut down on the pirate population down there, too.
You would think so, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you got a question?
The question, because I battled it so much this last week, was the champagne problems. And so, to give you a little rundown of what all I've been dealing with, the shit that I've been dealing with for the past couple of months was that, of course, we had the cruise, got stuck in Orlando. Not ideal, but I mean, like you were talking about, I mean, other people that could have really put a hurting on things to have to stay in, a city for 4 extra days for waiting for a flight. And then, I've had some issues with my vehicle, with the app not working and different stuff like that, which has been very frustrating. But, to the point of being, there's been some arguments and frustrations with the dealership, and there's, they know they're in the wrong and they're trying to do stuff and they keep fucking stuff up. But I'm also talking about a vehicle with an app. How often do you do that kind of shit? I mean, how often do you ever kind of check yourself a little bit, or do you ever realize in the moment sometimes
I do all the time.
You're like, it's valid to be upset or aggravated. Whatever's happening is real, but it's champagne problems, in the grand scheme of things. But I don't know exactly how to describe it. I mean, have you ever had that situation, or do you do that often, or what kind of things do you notice yourself?
Every fucking day, somehow. But somehow, my dad calls it, or my dad will say, gag on a gnat and choke, or eat an elephant. Eat an elephant and gag on a gnat. It's like, great big things don't bother me.
Yeah, I know.
It's little stupid bullshit that, whatever, pisses me off. And sometimes I'll get aggravated by the dumbest fucking things. And you always have to say, okay, would this have bothered me 20 years ago or whatever? Or would I have even been fortunate enough to have this problem 20 years ago? I don't know. I'm trying to think of any specific instances. I know there definitely are. It happens every day. I'm just trying to run through my day-to-day what pissed me off. And this is not a champagne problem, but the thing that pissed me off most today was that Taco Bell changed their menu.
Change their menu? What did they take off, man?
They just reworked a bunch of things. Most of the things are still there. This all started because Katrina wanted a cheesy gordita crunch. I don't even know what that is, but they didn't have that. And then I started looking. Like 2 months ago, they brought back, I think they were called empanadas, which is a little sweet treat.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
They were on the menu in like the 90s, and then they brought them back 2 or 3 months ago, and now they're gone again. It's like fucking McRib. It really pissed me off. You like McRibs, by the way? I don't understand the fuss about them. People freak out about them. Whatever.
I mean,
I know it's off topic.
I've had them a couple times, and they were okay, but I haven't had one in probably. I mean, it's been brought back every year.
Oh yeah, I think they bring it back every year.
I haven't had one in probably 10 years, 15.
Yeah.
So they,
I don't know if I told you this story about the building that I just got. Did you catch that all the walls are lined with copper?
I think we talked a little bit about, because of the treatment, where it was
it was an MRI place, and it's like RFID shielding and some sort of other kind of signal shielding or whatever. So that's kind of a good problem. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to tear the walls down and get the copper out, because copper's expensive.
Pay for the building.
Pay for the fucking building with copper. Yeah. Today I had to load my truck with a bunch of fucking comics to go to Dallas, and that generally was a shit show because the parking lot is so full of snow and shit, and I haven't been able to get it cleared. I don't know. There was various little things pissed me off today, but none of them really fall into the category of what you're talking about today, I don't think.
Yeah.
But yes, to get to your finer point, that shit happens to me all the time. The best example I can ever come up with of this is in 2014, I had Bill Shatner at the convention, and he was, at the time, he was like the biggest guest I'd ever had. It was super important to me. I was handling it myself, not handing this shit off to anybody. And Bill was staying in the hotel, and then we were going to come down to the convention floor, and he didn't want to walk. So I drove through the fucking convention center, through the food court at the time, through the Hyatt lobby on a little golf cart thing, met him at the elevator, picked him up on this little golf cart, and then we're having to drive back through the crowd. And it was an ocean of people waiting to get into the convention.
Oh, yeah.
And people wouldn't get out of the way. So Shatner's behind me, facing backwards, and he was saying, "Make these people move." So I tooted the horn on the thing, and he yelled at me for blowing the horn. "Don't blow the damn horn. It's making me, making my head hurt," or whatever, So anyway, it was extremely stressful. And after it all said and done, we got some police officers to walk out in front of me and make people move so I could take Bill Shatner to his fucking booth. I will say that was a horrible experience for me, but I think it was a bad day for Bill. And since then, I've had Bill once back, and he and I got along beautifully the second time. But his agent said to me, I go to him afterwards, I said, "Man, I'm so sorry for all these problems. It's all the people in the way, and, not being able to move him." And he said, "Son, these are high-class problems. You will never convince me that having too many people at an event is a problem." He said, we all have perspective for that. So so don't take it, don't be upset by it. It's just how it happened. But those sort of things do happen all the time. I try to maintain perspective that high class problems aren't real problems. It's very hard to do sometimes.
Yeah. I think there's a little bit, because, I mean, you've earned the right.
Yeah.
Somewhat to be in that position to have whatever experience you're having not going the way that it was promised or whatever. But so I try not to feel bad about being upset about it. But what I try to do is be more mindful about how much of my own personal energy that I let that eat up. You know, by getting so upset or letting it ruin a couple hours of bitching or talking or whatever in the world you're doing for it. Just being mindful, you're creating this big guy, you know, because your life doesn't stop because of whatever this little thing is. If the more time you spend on it, the more time you're wasting doing something that you could, you know, be happier with.
I'll tell you, I took, you and I talked about this 2 days ago. I took Brian, my maintenance dude, down, showed him the building today. Had to break that, and I was really stressed out about it. Like I was afraid Brian would be mad at me if I told him I bought another building, and I don't know why. It's my fucking money. Yeah, he works for me.
He's your maintenance guy.
He's my, well, I mean, he's also a very good friend and all that. But I was afraid he was just going to be like, fuck, more work for me, you know. And so I took him, showed it to him, and I thought, well, this is kind of a problem, but it wasn't. He was cool. I told him he could. If he saw anything in there that would help out at the other buildings, he could use it as a resource, but it wouldn't have to turn into more work for him. So I think that went over okay. He was okay with that.
Yeah.
Every single person I've told about this thinks I'm fucking nuts. I can't believe what we're doing here.
Which is funny because I forgot it again. But the closing gift.
Oh yeah.
Which I figured out exactly what the quote was. The quote was, "I don't regret much, but I regret thinking it was a good idea to buy a pet store, ... Twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that with a bunch of exotic snakes around it, that's what I got you to throw up in the...
Gee, thanks. Nothing like reminding a person of their own stupidity to be a good closing gift.
That's what I'm here for.
I'm glad you're here for it. Shit. All right. I didn't have a great answer for your question. I also don't have a great question, but it's made me. Franklin has made me think a lot. And I know you're not like a pet person. You don't have dogs or cats, do you? No. Short of Dixie and your kids, what stops your life in its tracks? Like Franklin being injured, I didn't give a fuck what else in the world was going on. I Sunday morning, as soon as I woke up and looked at him and he looked at me, I said, "We're going to fucking Columbus." You know, put the dog in the car and go. So I was thinking about that a lot, like only because it makes me wonder: is having the dogs a liability? Of course, it's a liability to me, I guess. But I mean, there's a cost-benefit analysis for sure. I need somebody to cuddle with it right now. And
so I say,
Franklin's pretty good company for the most part.
That dog has given you in the short time that you've had it, a year or two, whatever it's been. I mean, I get it.
But what stops your life in your tracks? You know, like I said, short of parents, kids, and Dixie.
Yeah,
anything?
I don't know that there's anything like. There will be certain. There's work that does that. That, like, you know, there are certain clients or if there's situations that I know it'll be detrimental if I don't talk about this right now. Yeah. That'll typically kind of stop me to make sure that I get that handled. But short of that, it almost has to be like a family situation or somebody needing something. I mean, in all honesty, if you called me and said, "Ryan, I got to take Franklin here, but I don't have anybody else. Can you do this?" Yeah. I wouldn't give a fuck what it was. I'd cancel a showing. I mean, I would do anything. If you needed that in that moment, I would do it. So
that I guess that just friends and family, and maybe that, I guess that does make my dogs and all the fucking critters around here a pretty big liability. But I guess I have willingly taken on 600 living, breathing entities around here. Of course, the snakes don't stop my life.
Yeah.
Anything. If
power goes out,
yeah,
it'd stop your fucking life because it would be all hands on deck to figure out how do we stop the losses.
Yeah. I got a generator now. 24 hours.
Here.
Yeah.
They're
I know that.
getting ready to move.
What was so funny is that by the day they were putting the generator in here, I thought, fuck, I should have had them put it on that new building. You know, 'cause I'm literally about to move all the shit that I needed a generator for here
over there,
down there. But I think that building is close enough to the hospital to where it's probably not going to lose power on any
And it's got higher power. I mean, there's
level. I mean, it's right in the middle of town. It would be really hard.
Yeah, anything is possible, but I think it's probably one of the last spots that's,
and
or it's going to be up really, really quick.
Yeah, that's the thing
grid.
for me. I think that grid is they're gonna pay special attention to that grid because there's a massive medical facility right next door to me. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, but no, I think that. I think that anything that will stop you in your tracks is anything that is just important enough to stop me.
Yeah,
in
I
your
guess
tracks.
that has to be what the top 5 priorities on the list or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
I guess if you set and ranked shit in your life, these are the 5 things that stop you in your tracks a little bit.
Because I mean, if Franklin's just shitting all over the place or something, and he's got a bad tummy, you're still going to take care of him, but you're probably going to keep on business.
I never thought about that. I guess it's how squeaky the wheel is.
Yeah.
You know,
you knew that it was beyond something that was just you could handle here yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. It's made me think a whole lot about, I guess, prioritizing my life a little bit. And gosh, I guess I gotta say, and this is part of me just being a fucked up human, I don't know what my priorities are most of the time. You know, it's since I'm divorced and my kids are mostly grown. Of course, my kids are still probably my biggest priority, but then it's probably the fucking dogs and the critters and things that living beings that I've committed to taking care of. But past that, it's my employees.
It's work.
Yeah, it's work.
Because that's the thing is that, in all honesty, I don't mind saying it's my employees. I don't like saying it's work. It is, though.
I know it is.
Because, I mean, I can't, there's never a time, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but it just being real, there's never a time that I've ever been over here or talked to you or knew about something that was going on during the week that was not work. I have seen you one time where we went to a mutual concert. We went to that concert. That's the only time I've ever seen you do something outside of work.
Yeah. Well, now I've got fucking things to lay in bed and keep me awake at night, Ryan. Thank you. Gee fucking thanks.
Well,
now I know I have nothing in my life worth fucking.
Part of our intro does talk about existential crisis.
Yeah.
So
Please get your whole face in front of the shotgun tonight, I guess. Yeah. My God. I saw some fucking meme the other day that talking about something about I have these pills in case the demons get loud, and I have this revolver in the nightstand in case they get too loud. You know, something.
But it goes both ways because I mean, also too, all of that, and also being in the position that you've put yourself in. You were able to stop the tracks. You know, if you're a warehouse worker and, you know, you call and say, hey, my dog slipped and, you know, I think, you know, it's got this major issue. You got any sick days left? You got, you know, or they just say, no, you're fired if you don't come in. Yeah. So
my employees all go, well, fuck, I guess Jarrod ain't coming to work again today. Yeah. Sometimes I'm pretty sure I work for them anyway.
I was going to say, as long as they get their paycheck, where do they care if you're coming in?
Yeah, I don't know. It is a very weird dynamic. And a friend of mine told me a story one time. He said, I went to work for a new company, and I met the boss, and 2 weeks or so goes by. I hadn't really even seen him, and at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm up on a scaffold drywalling, and I've been there, already been there an hour, started at 6, and he said, boss rolled in, said, sorry I'm late. And he said, why are you sorry to me? I work for you. I don't give a shit if you're late or not.
Yep.
I'm still here doing what I'm supposed to do. But I don't know. I always feel like maybe it's just in my own head. Maybe it's me judging myself. But I always feel like if I'm not visibly doing something, I feel like my employees fucking are judging me for it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's me judging myself. Maybe they don't give a fuck. It's just the way I always look at it.
And, well, just to let you know what the answer is, it is you.
Okay, yeah.
Because, I mean,
I think if I'm not there, they probably go, well, we don't have to fucking do nothing today.
Yeah, then that's a whole different issue. But
well, I think I have, I don't know, I think I got 26 or 27. And in those 26 or 27, there's probably, I'm going to say 20 of them are working for other people. They don't directly work for me anyway. They work for people that work for me. But of the ones that technically I'm their direct supervisor or whatever, I really don't have any that I worry about not doing what they're supposed to. Maybe one.
Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be one on the fringe.
Maybe one. Maybe two some days. I don't know. Maybe one or two. We've talked about at length that I'm not good at deciding when to part ways with people.
Yeah, well, yeah. We talked about that and the CEO. I think this, from what we've talked about several times, I think you'd be, it would help you to have systems and
if I had a COO, I would be worried that they would be judging me for not coming to work.
Hire the right COO that knows that their job is to keep you out of work as much as possible.
Yeah. Speaking of, and I'm sure because you've got some people working under you, right? Yeah, some other realtors. Do you have clients that you try to put on them that refuse to be, I guess? So in giving, I've given Katrina pretty much 100% of the convention planning. But there are a handful of agents and other people that still insist on calling me.
Yeah.
And I've got to the point where I just say, I don't know why you're calling me. I don't know these. I don't have answers for you. I don't know these things. You need to call her. And they still had an agent the other night say, no, I'll talk to you. Thank you. It's like, I don't know if he's afraid to talk to her or if he just insists on, he feels he's important enough to get to talk to the
that's what I was getting ready to say. That is it. That the majority of the time when those situations happen, most of the time, from my experience, is just because they think, "Oh, I'm talking to the decision maker."
It's to their detriment.
Yeah,
because I'm not I don't know half the shit going on any given time. I'm taking care of Franklin. She's taking care of a convention. Yep. Also, one other thing I want to say on that note. She and I have talked a lot lately about, for the first 5 or 6 years of the convention, I answered every email I got, no matter how stupid. I was on Facebook answering posts.
You were building it.
People
so it makes sense.
At the convention knew me on site. I knew the names of the first 150 people in line probably, all that. And since I stepped away 6 or 7 years ago, Katrina has taken a much different approach where she doesn't want to be known as an individual. And it's partly just the dynamic of her trying to navigate.
She's got to run
the world of a bunch of weirdos as a woman, I think. Yeah. And she doesn't purposefully friend people on Facebook that she doesn't know and things like that. But we've been talking a lot has that been to our detriment? Of me not being out there as much and her not being out there at all and all that. So we made this Facebook group and we're trying to be more active in it for the con. And she told me that she has over 100 message requests on her personal Facebook right now from people that just want to go straight to her and get their question answered or whatever, as opposed to, going and reading an FAQ or whatever. Yeah. And so we're trying to find the balance of how to be accessible, or for her, how to be accessible yet not giving her life away to those people.
Yeah.
And that's a really hard balance to strike, I think.
I think for emails, you might be a consideration or something to think about is using AI.
Katie answers most of the customer service emails, and she's got to now, because Katie's not, I don't know, her bedside manner, I guess, is not perfect.
Yeah.
It's hard to edit her "what the fuck are you saying" face a lot of times. But anyway, so she'll type her response and then give it to ChatGPT or whatever and say, hey, can you make this sound more professional? Or can you take all the sarcasm out of it? Or can you take all the parts where I called them idiots out of it or whatever, you know? So she has it fancy her emails up. But I don't know. Do you think there's a place for, we're back to AI here. Do you think there's a place for AI to just answer those
Absolutely,
questions?
100%. There's something where you basically, you would build up its knowledge.
It's knowledge base, yeah.
And you get its knowledge base put together, and then you put that into your emails, and whenever that feeds in, it just automatically responds to those emails.
Is that what's emailing me on your behalf now and then?
Some of that. It's a similar concept, you know, in regards to properties and those kind of things, but this would be,
I may have asked you this, but if I reply to that email, does it go directly to you, or does it handle it?
If you reply to it, and like mine is not set up to necessarily, mine's not an AI, true AI. It's more of a database kind of response. But if it's AI and you ask it a question, it's going to answer that other question. And you can set it up to where you basically, like, I get a copy. So if you respond, I instantly get an email notification. Well, actually, I get email notifications depending on how much you want to get, to where you would get that response. So like if there was an email that you responded to or AI responded to, Kat could get that to where she can just go, okay, I see what they're doing there.
Yeah. Well, I keep getting these emails from you that say, hey, did you notice that this property was on the market? And last week I wanted to say, yeah, motherfucker, I just bought that, or whatever. Or we just looked at that last week.
Yep.
I don't know. Does that work? Because mostly, if it wasn't you, I think those would just piss me off.
And I think it's different for everybody else. So I have had people that
I do think you need to turn them off with clients you're actively engaged in.
Yeah. So typically what I will go in and do is I will go into my CRM and turn that off whenever we're actively looking. I can change the parameters, and I haven't done that with you, basically.
What it makes me feel like is that I'm an impulse buyer, and if you show me something else, I'll want it.
If the shoe fits.
Fuck you, Ryan, quit showing me shit.
I've had people that I haven't physically talked to, texted, called, anything in a year that will message me and go, hey, I've been getting your emails. I appreciate it. But now I finally seen you finally sent me something I liked. And then I go out and sell them a house. And, you know, we go out and do that. So I think people know what it is. You know, that's so common these days. That is almost the bare minimum. And that if you can't, and most people don't even do that. With an AI based kind of email setup, though, it's different. It's answering real world problems. It's not just taking a little bit of data and going, okay, now I'm going to feed it. It's not like a newsletter. That's more like a newsletter kind of thing.
So when I was a kid, this is a real Casa Bonita thing. My son never fucking talks to me. It's like he knows I'm doing some shit right now. I've been trying to get him to call me or text me all day long, and the little bastard now is blowing me up. Anyway, when I was a kid, there was this place in Ashland called the Castle Buffet, and it's literally built like a castle. And it was medieval themed buffet.
That's funny. I lived in Ashland and never
knew that?
Never heard of it.
That's so fucked up. I don't even know how long it was open, I had to be 6 or 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And I remember getting to go there one time, and I thought it was cool. It wasn't like they have horses or anything, and it wasn't like, what's the thing, Myrtle Beach or wherever where they.
Oh yeah, like the medieval times.
Yeah, medieval times. That's it.
Yep.
It wasn't like that, but it was a castle themed restaurant, and they had a big buffet with big fucking turkey legs and shit. Whatever.
But I'm thinking with your resources and kind of like things you're already plugged into, man, you could theme the shit out of that. I mean,
I think you could have a Renaissance fair themed something. Yeah. I don't know if I want in the restaurant business, to be honest. I always think I want in the restaurant business, but then I realize that's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And That said, there is another local entrepreneur here that has his fingers in just a little bit of everything that seems to be opening restaurants like crazy right now. Shit. I can't say his name. Damn it. The Bears.
The Bears.
You know them? They own that restaurant downtown right across from my store. I think they do anyway. Jerk O'Reilly's.
Jerk O'Reilly's. And,
Remember the building we went and looked at that time?
Yeah.
They bought that building at that auction.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I thought that building could never be renovated enough to house anything. And they've actually built it into a pretty nice restaurant.
That's what I said. And it was a nice restaurant before that. So, I mean, it was, the worst part of that was upstairs. I mean, and that's, I think when we looked, we were trying to figure out, okay, what can we use the whole freaking building?
Yeah. Anyway, they seem to open a lot of businesses, and they also have a lot of restaurants. So there must be, I guess, once you learn the learning curve of it, maybe it's not that bad or whatever. But
it's not. I don't know. There's a lot of restaurants that fell.
Yes, there is. There's an amazing amount of failed restaurants. Oh, I see this. What this is? I keep an alerts. Bitcoin has now reached a 1-year low. That's about the 70th time today I've got that same message because it keeps going lower and lower and lower and lower. And this is a first world problem, but I think I've lost about 10 fucking grand today
with it just
with just the crash of Bitcoin today. But fuck, it just threw me off. It just made me. Right. Anyway, the castle. Anyway, then it was a flea market for a long time. It was one big open building. Then some enterprising some bitch went in there and turned it into a bunch of apartments. And it has been the scourge of, I feel like.
I don't know that. Yeah, that's all I ever remember was it just being ratty apartments.
Yeah, they're shithole apartments, I think. But now that building's up for rent or up for auction, and it's a fucking castle. I mean, to look at it from the outside.
I'm curious is how do you take that and turn that back into something
different?
Know.
I don't know how they. I don't know. I guess you just have to go in there and gut it out, which you'd have to buy it real cheap to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially if you're, but the cool thing is that is just niche Ashland enough to where I feel like if you did something to where you did like a, like you said, not medieval times, you're not going to have the horses and all that kind of stuff going in there, but something like a living Renaissance fair kind of, and that's the menu and everything. I think that's niche-y enough.
It's got potential.
Yeah.
You know what I said 3 months ago when we started talking about this snake thing? I said there is no bank in the world crazy enough to loan me the money to buy a building to put 600,000 fucking snakes in. And you know what?
They did.
They did quickly. It. They surprised me. They surprised me. They said, "Sure, that'll be fine." So I don't think they'd blink an eye if I went to them with this idea. And I'm starting to be so. And tell me where you're at on this. The first part of my life, I'm going to say the first 40 years, I tried every way in the world to just stay out of debt. I wouldn't take on debt, period. Yeah. And just in the last, I guess 10 years ago, I'm 50 now, 10 years ago, when I was 40, I bought that building downtown. It's almost paid off now. Since then, I bought 2 or 3 other buildings. Anyway, and now I'm just like, fuck it, let's buy more. It's like I don't know. I've swallowed the not liking debt thing.
Yeah,
and I don't know. You read a lot online that says, hell, people that are gajillionaires are
they don't own anything.
Are gajillionaires in debt.
They don't own anything.
They don't own anything, and maybe that's the action. I don't know.
Yeah.
So far, I can't tell that it's been a detriment to my life. I mean, as long as whatever I buy and whatever debt is serviceable by the building itself, then I don't know that I hate it. For the first, till I was 40, I was just like, oh no, I'm not going in debt for that or whatever. Yeah. Like I purposely built a convention around not going in debt. I purposely never let myself get in debt or get ahead of what I thought it could cover. But I'm look back now, I go, well, maybe that was a mistake. Maybe I should fucking really blown it up quicker. But organic was nice. I think COVID changed my outlook on debt a whole lot. I was like, fuck it. we're all sitting here not
not doing
anything. Might as well.
It's interesting because I'm, and maybe it's just by the way we were raised, because I was very anti-debt as well.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, if I wanted, I could have zero debt right this second.
Yeah.
You know, and
well, I could probably have zero debt up until yesterday, but I could. Well, no, I don't know. I forgot about this house. This house I'm living in, I still owe a substantial amount of money on it. I could have probably snapped my fingers, wrote the checks, and been debt-free 3 days ago. It would have been real painful.
Yeah.
I think. Today, I don't know if I could. Maybe in 2 or 3 months, but I don't know about today. But I always thought that, you know, if I was that far in debt, I couldn't sleep at night or whatever. Yeah, that hasn't bothered me at all.
And I think it depends on where you're at and what you're trying to accomplish. Yeah. You know, there was a specific reason that I want to be debt free, pretty much at this, you know, kind of the time frame that I want.
But I know why that is. I think just the freedom of being able to, the fucking money, right?
Yeah, and to be able to travel, to be able to get a beach house. So but I don't think that if I had something that I truly wanted to, like, really, and I don't have to take on debt for real estate. I don't have to, unless I wanted to buy real estate for holding.
Yeah.
But I think if I had something that I was like believed in, I was passionate, I was like, okay, now I'm kind of turned on. This is cool. I want to build this. I don't think I'd have a problem with debt as long as I, you just went into it responsibly, I guess.
I think the real estate aspect for me is, I know that in 10 years, if I decide to say fuck it and retire to Bali, I'm not going to Bali, but anyway.
Yeah.
If I decide to retire to the coastal Carolinas somewhere or something, I think buying commercial real estate, I can leave a property manager in place and walk away, even with the debt.
Yep.
As long as currently I own the buildings in a holding company name, and my businesses are leasing the buildings. But in a situation that I decided to close my businesses, I would just lease the buildings to somebody else.
Yep. And
very soon the first building will be paid off, and then that lease money just goes in my pocket every month. So I think, and my retirement plan is to have enough of that done, I think. My retirement plan in the bulk of my life is just figure out how to get rich, motherfucker. Yeah. Whatever that is, whatever.
It's probably for me just in the last 2-3 years where I've really started, and I have studied it and really got in the weeds. So I know what I could do right now if I just wanted to say, I'm done. I'm not doing anything else. Yeah. I could live till, 90 or 100, and I know how to do that and what it could do. And then if I work 3 years, 5 years, okay, now if I find a business I want to invest in, what does that look like? So that is kind of cool, because just having the financial literacy to be able to think about that kind of stuff. But
my dad and I talk about this a lot, and my dad came from in his generation, you worked a job, you built a retirement, either a 401k or get a pension or something like that, and that has worked out spectacularly for my dad. Because he's living his life now off of his Boilermaker's pension, and then
same way as my dad with the railroad.
Yeah, and then he also invested a lot of money through a 401k when he was working, and he's rolled that. That's like 100% in the market right now. He's buying fucking Nvidia and Amazon and all this shit. And I'm like, Dad, you're 75. What's the end game here? He said, fuck it, let it make money. But that's his outlook. He talks to me a lot about what my retirement plan is, and generationally, my retirement plan was never to work for a pension or 401k or whatever and have a retirement, and that freaks my dad out bad. But I do remember 10 years ago, he said, what are you going to do about retiring? I said, Dad, my retirement plan is just to be so fucking rich I don't have to know what retirement looks like. And he said, well, what happens when that don't work out? I said, I don't know. I'll let you know. Because it probably won't.
So far, so good.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, no, that was, which is just kind of interesting because, our parents grew up railroad, steel worker, whatever that was, because that's what you did with the generation they came up. And then I'm the same way. I mean, now whenever I did work jobs where I could, like, I got a pretty good chunk sitting in a 401k from earlier jobs.
Yeah,
my
that's
20s.
me. I have a 401k. I'm still putting money into it. Actually, I have it through my own company.
But I don't. The thing that I learned later than I wish I had, but did finally learn, is that the bad thing about the 401k is it's not liquid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and I kind of got to this point where it's like frustrating. It's like, okay, I got this money sitting there. I can't touch it until I'm 59 and a half.
When I left.
But this most disgusting thing about that is that's only fucking 7 years. So that's what's hitting me more than anything.
When I left my last real job, I had about $100,000 sitting in a 401k, and I just cashed that shit out, and my dad thought I was fucking crazy.
Yep.
And he said, "What are you gonna do?" I said, "I'm gonna invest in myself."
Yep.
And
did the same thing, and almost verbatim is the response that I got.
Yeah, and he still thinks I'm crazy. He told me the other day. He said, "Somebody asked me if you were doing okay, and I told him you must be, because you keep buying shit and the bank don't come and get it." So I said, "Well,
it's a good gauge."
Yeah, fuck, I guess that works. Anyway, well, we've been talking too fucking long anyway. So, but I really need to go check on my dog. Anything else you want to pipe in here this week?
No, I think it's good. Good to be back in here, man.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that your question nor mine really fucking materialized, but we still got around the block.
Yeah, that's which was my thought coming into this, was that we had a shit ton to catch up on.
Yeah,
we'll get more focused with the question next week or two.
Have them edit in a picture of the building I just bought. Anyway, all right. Thank you, sir.
Until next time.
Yep. See you.
And just like that, another episode of Two Guys, Two Questions is in the books.
We laughed. We learned. Well, we mostly just laughed.
Yeah, and if you made it this far, congratulations. You now have random knowledge you never asked for.
You're welcome.
Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review. Or don't, but just know if you don't, we're bringing back the squeaky toys.
Oh, it's coming back either way.
Until next time, same two guys, two questions, and absolutely no idea what we're doing.
Perfect.